Judulnya Menantu Baik.
Halo Mas Haidir.
Halo, Assalamualaikum Mas Sandi. Good evening.
Good evening Mas Haidir.
How are you feeling today, Mas Sandi?
I'm pretty good, thank you. How about you?
I'm great. I'm good. Thanks for asking me back. Welcome back, Mas Sandi.
Yes.
Today we are scheduled to discuss the final part of IELTS speaking test.
Yeah.
Which is none other than part 3, right?
Correct.
But before that, would you please remind both of us, what have you learned in the last meeting? What have we discussed?
In the last meeting, we already discussed about the speaking part 2, that you have introduced me the best way to answer the question, the cue card questions that given by the examiner. And like you said, we have to make a quadrant, and every quadrant we have to answer the question by the specific just point out our idea, not explain sentences, just the keyword. And you also introduced me about how to opening the speaking part 2, the monologue, with I'm gonna be talking about, and the closure is how the future will blah blah blah. I think that's the last meeting, Mas.
All right. Thank you, Mas Sandi, for the summary and for the review. Today, we're going to be focusing on the suitable method that we can use to answer questions in part 3. But before that, let's do the warm up. Let's do the stretching before we go any deeper. Have we
Okay.
talked about friends?
Not yet.
Okay, let's practice a little bit about part 1 and part 2 again. Okay?
Yes, okay.
Mas Sandi, are your friends mostly your age or different ages?
Uh, I have some people within my age and also out with different ages. But mostly I have friend in office and outside the office is mostly is between friends with my age.
I see. All right. Do you usually see your friends during the week or at weekends?
I usually see my friend in weekdays. Actually, most of them I see in weekend in office. But some friend I remember to meet my senior high school friends once in a blue moon.
Thank you. Next question. The last time you saw your friends, what did you do together?
We usually we eat together at the restaurant and have a chit chat about what happened with us in office or in our daily life.
In what ways are your friends important to you?
For me, my friend is my support system, and wherever I need them or they need me, we will have a time for each other.
Let's talk about reading. Do you like reading?
Yeah, I think I am like reading, but if I have to choose, I prefer to watching some movies or videos.
All right. Do you usually read for leisure or for work purposes?
For me, I usually read just for work purposes. I usually read a journal or topic related to what I'm doing in my office.
All right. What was your favorite book or story when you were a child?
I remember when I was a child, I like book about Disney. Yeah, usually my parents read me a story about Disney, like Peter Pan or Captain Hook, Cinderella, and so on. Before I go to sleep.
All right. Do you think it's important that children read regularly?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, reading a book is very good for children because it can stimulate their brain so they can have the imagination wider.
All right. Let's talk about study now.
Okay.
Do you like studying? Why or why not?
I like. I can say that I like studying, but I can say that I like studying, but I have to choose the method we use to study because I don't like studying just one direction from lecture, and I just listening. I think it's so bored and I got sleepy sometimes.
Do you prefer to study alone or with your friends or with others, and why?
Study with my friend is I will choose study with my friend because sometimes we have a different perspective for some cases or for some material, so we can complete each other when we study together.
All right, that's cool. Number 3, where do you prefer to go when you need to study, and why that place?
Okay, I choose some place that silent and with less distraction from other people. I think I don't like a cafe or coffee shop because so many people come and go, and it make me distracted from what I learned.
Last question. How do you feel if someone disturbs you when you are studying?
Of course, it will make me uncomfortable, but I am type of people that don't want to argue about something that I think it's not really important. So maybe I will choose to go and prefer to search a quiet area to go to study.
All right. Thank you so much, Mas Sandi. Please
Yes.
prepare a piece of paper and a pencil.
Okay, I have it already.
All right. We're going to proceed to the second part. I'm going to show you the cue card, and I'm going to give you 1 minute to prepare, to take notes and everything. And then afterwards, you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak about the topic and answer the details. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So your cue card is about. Can you see my slide?
Not yet.
All right. Wait. I want you to describe an interesting story that you heard or read about in the news. You should say when you heard or read about the story, what the story was about, why the story was in the news, and explain why you thought the story was interesting. You have 1 minute to prepare. Starts now. All right, your preparation time is up. Now, please stop writing. Yes, thank you. You have 1 to 2 minutes to answer the questions, and you may start speaking now.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to be talking about some good news, some story or news that I read recently. The story is about the Silicon Valley banks in America, and this story is interesting because one of those biggest banks in America that collapsed recently, and most of people don't think this bank will collapse because from the capital or from the liquidity, the bank is very ample and it have so many customer, and not just it has so many customer uh, in Silicon Valley area, that good area in America. This story interesting because the effect of the collapse of this bank is very massive. We can see the news about people doing some bank run in America. They cash out their money massively in America. Then we can take a lesson learned about this case in America. We can take a note for a bank in Indonesia that they have to
All right. Thank you for
okay.
the answer.
Okay, Mas.
Thank you so much, Mas Sandi. That's it for the warm up. What do you think about your performance?
I'm not British good. I'm not good enough, I think, because I don't have any idioms, and I think I already answered all the questions. But
you know what, Mas Sandi, I feel like that speech was the best speech that I've heard from you for the second part. Although there's no idiom in it, but there are so many advanced words in it, specific terminologies, and that's really cool. And I feel like the choice of the news that you pick is just really smart. You chose that particular news that is actually related to your major, to your background and discipline. That's why you really understand about the topic. You're so enthusiastic explaining the news, the story and everything, and that's just a really good choice. So next time, if you can choose that kind of clever choices, please do. Yeah, because you just showed so many advanced words there, and it's really, really good. It's gonna be boosting your lexical resource band score. Because you're so passionate about the story, because it's your field. Your fluency is really good as well, right? Your pronunciation is understandable. It's really clear. Although there's some minor errors about the grammar here and there, but overall it's really good. The only problem that I see, it's just about the coherence. Not about the answers, but have you answered about the third question? Why the story was in the news?
Because it's affect people, so many people in America, that they cash out their money from the bank immediately.
Did you say that?
Yep, I think I said that.
Okay.
Because I already
wrote that down.
Wrote, yes.
Yes, I think you can. You should have been more firm.
Okay.
To differentiate number 3 and number 4, right? Because I think the flow of your answer was the story, the news was about this and that, and the interesting part about the news is this and that. I think it's you go from number 2 to number 4, And I
Oh,
think,
okay.
what was your answer for number 1? When?
Yeah,
You only mentioned recently, right?
yeah.
It's already answering, sudah menjawab sebenarnya Mas Sandi. Recently itu adalah frekuensi waktu. But I think you can be more elaborative on that number, ya. Recently itu mungkin bisa di specific 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Do not be stingy about this information. It's just 2 or 3 words, right? So you can be more specific on that. And mungkin nomor 3 itu sebenarnya sudah ada sih, Mas. Why the story was in the news? Because it's nobody thought that it's gonna be collab, right?
Yeah.
You already told that. Tapi mungkin transisinya, I believe that the media atau the journalists brought this news or this story because nobody thought or imagined that this powerful bank would be collapsed. Boleh gitu ya. So the transition can be more clearer. But I think overall it's really good. I think this is the best speeches from you that I've heard today. Oke, Mas Mas Andi, sebelum kita go further on the third part, can you guess the potential follow-up questions for your third part if the cue card is like this? Remember your pretest?
Yeah.
What was the cue card about?
Wait a second. I barely remember about the specific question in part 2.
Okay, let me help you to remind that. I think the cue card that I gave you for your pretest was about, please describe an interesting city that you have visited.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And I swear it with Yogyakarta, yeah.
Yes. And then the third part, the follow-up questions were about what are the advantages living in the cities, right?
Yeah.
And then the comparison to the countryside, young people living in cities, old people living in cities or the countryside, problems in cities, yada. See the correlation of the questions in part 3 to the cue card in part 2. Can you see the correlation?
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm going to give you 2 to 5 minutes to type down your guesses about the potential questions that might be asked from this cue card. Untuk part 3-nya ini kira-kira pertanyaannya seperti apa? Silakan 2 minutes to 5 minutes, write down on the chat box. 3 up to 5 questions. 3 up to 5 follow-up questions. Go ahead. Thank you. Have you done? Have you created some questions?
Yeah,
On
I just think
two?
2 question. Yeah.
Do you like to read newspaper? Oke, boleh sih. Do you like to read newspaper untuk basa-basi? What do you choose? Read a newspaper or read a digital
Digital
news
news
on
maksudnya.
internet? Oh, okay.
Read online article ya, I think.
But I think these two questions are still personal questions, Mas Sandi. Personal questions are questions that are being asked in part 1, not in part 3. In part 3, it's more general. For example, what are the benefits living in the cities compared to in the countryside? Do you think that young people are more suitable living in the cities rather than in the countryside? See the difference? It's not about you anymore. It's not about you anymore.
So the question will be,
so what would the question be like? All right, give up.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. And then I'm gonna ask you, and please directly answer. Yes.
Okay.
Do you still remember how long should you speak in part 3?
I think it's same with part 1, just 2 or 3 sentences.
No, you are encouraged to speak more than that, like 1 paragraph, if it's critical or analytical questions. For example, when do people like to read the newspaper?
Okay. Some people read the newspaper in the morning before, in the morning when they have a breakfast, or before they go to the office, because the newspaper is contain updated news that happened recently. So many people can use the information that contained in the newspaper to take a decision, or or discuss with their co-worker in the office, or their friend in the cafe, and having a conversation about what was happened last day, or what will happen, what big event that will happen in the next day or next week.
Nice. How important is it for people to have a choice of newspaper, you think?
To have a choice itu maksudnya berarti ini ya, Mas?
Yes, you have a variety of titles,
Okay.
topics of the news in the newspapers.
Yeah, I think for some people is have it is essential to have some choice of the newspaper or the newspaper, for example, sport newspaper or economic newspaper or general newspaper, because every newspaper, that sport newspaper and general newspaper or economic newspaper, contain different information that that they need or they have to know about it, that can support their they can support their that can support they to have a conversation in office or with her friend.
All right. In your opinion, what does a good newspaper contain?
For me, a good newspaper contains an actual information that based on fact, not just opinion or ideas from one or two perspective, but it contain the news is very the news is have a angle from another side, so they can conclude the news very attractive with apa ya mas
No, yes, that's it. Thank you.
yeah, that's it, thank you.
All right. Well done, Mas Sandi. As I expected, I don't think you have any problems answering in the third part, because I think you already have the logic. You already have so much information in your, because of your experiences, knowledge, and everything. But I just want to give some feedbacks on your structures. So let's discuss what is the what suitable methods that we can use to answer this question. So in part 3, untuk IELTS speaking test, Mas, itu ada namanya metode AREL. Apa itu? Have we talked about AREL?
Not yet, I think.
Oke. AREL adalah, can I have one toilet break? 1 minute toilet break.
It's
All right.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, Mas, no problem.
All right, Mas. Mas Sandi, I'm back.
Yeah, Mas.
We're going to talk about. We're going to discuss more on. Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yeah.
Can you see my Google Docs?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna be talking about AREL method.
AREL. Yeah.
What is that? What does it mean, and how to use it to answer questions in IELTS IELTS speaking part 3. So basically, AREL method is the common method that is being used in argumentations. It's the method that are being used by debaters to deliver their arguments principally or practically. So basically, okay. AREL method adalah singkatan dari A-nya adalah assertion, R-nya adalah reason, I-nya adalah example or evidence, L-nya adalah link back. So what is assertion, Mas Sandi? Have you heard? Do you know the word assertion in English?
I heard about assertion, but I don't know the meaning of that. See.
Let's say it's the claim. It's the claim or the title or the highlight of your arguments. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The claim or highlight or the title, right?
Yeah.
Reason is the arguments, of course. Kenapa saya kasih dalam kurung S? Karena boleh berlayer-layer, Mas. Boleh dielaborasi. Kalau tadi saya lihat jawaban Mas Sandi itu reasonnya berlapis-lapis untuk di elaborate-nya. It's okay to have elaborated reasons, makanya saya kasih dalam kurung S biar ada tanda atau sinyal bahwa reason-nya nggak harus satu, tapi boleh di-elaborated berlayer-layer. Example adalah it can be numbers, it can be statistics, it can be data, but is that all? Is example all about numbers, data, and statistics only?
Concrete. It's real case gitu berarti ya, Mas ya?
Yes, real case. In terms of, you can say personal experience.
Oh.
You can say about analogy or comparison. Okay, or common phenomenon, and etc. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be numbers or statistics or data because in IELTS we don't have much time to research about the data or the specific numbers or statistics. So the example can be taken from our own personal experience or real case or analogy, as simple as comparison or common phenomenon that we see in something in the status quo, right? What about the link back? Link back is the summary or recommendations or results. Jadi dengan cara mengulangi kembali klaimnya, restating aja atau paraphrase. Contoh, Mas. Contoh. In my opinion, for example, the question was about, hi dear, do you agree with, what do you think about smoking in Indonesia? In my opinion, smoking should be banned in Indonesia. That's the assertion or the claim.
Hmm.
Atau versi lain boleh juga, there are several reasons why smoking should be abolished in Indonesia. Boleh juga, Mas.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Reason.
Halo. Mas.
I apologize, Mas Sandi.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mas.
All right, let's continue.
Yeah.
Mas Sandi, can you think of any reasons for this?
Yeah. Obviously, it will affect the health issues in Indonesia.
Okay, the major justification for this is that cigarettes contain, are dangerous for our body and health. Betul?
Yep.
Can you think of any example? For example,
Is in Indonesia, for example,
let me
ini
just
kalau kayak gini tuh kita bisa manipulate the data nggak sih, Mas? Misalnya nih, saya nggak punya data exact, tapi saya misalnya bilang death caused by smoking is one of the highest percentage of death in Indonesia based on data from Kementerian Kesehatan gitu misalnya.
You can say something like that. If you are not so sure about the data or the source of the data, you can simply say one of, because smoking is one of the highest or the biggest killers in Indonesia, based on the article that I read somewhere. Boleh gitu. It's okay if you are not sure. Don't go specific if you're not really sure about the data. But the example, like I said, it can be a simple example such as one of, okay, for example, there are several. In my opinion, smoking should be banned in Indonesia. The major justification for this is that cigarettes are dangerous for our body and health. One of chemicals in cigarette nicotine, for instance, may lead to lung cancer symptoms. If it is consumed massively. Bisa? Right? So, sesimpel itu juga bisa, Mas. Can you see my slide? My Google Docs?
Iya, Mas.
Alright. And the link back is just karena ini masih cuma baru 3 kalimat ya, baru 3 kalimat pendek, makanya saya bisa bilang based on that reason, I strongly believe that smoking, the Indonesian government should not legalize smoking anymore. Sesimpel itu, Mas. Atau kalau dalam bentuk recommendations, based on that reason, I recommend that people should not smoke due to health issues provided above. Boleh. As a result, kalau mau pakai result, silahkan. But overall, AREL itu seperti ini, Mas. In my opinion, smoking should be banned in Indonesia. The major justification for this is that cigarettes are dangerous for our body and health. For example, one of the chemicals contained in cigarettes, like nicotine, may lead to lung cancer symptoms if it is consumed massively on a daily basis. Based on that reason, I strongly argue that Indonesian government should not legalize smoking anymore, so Indonesian people can be more healthier and safer in the near future. Any questions about AREL method, Mas?
Oke, berarti kalau kita pakai AREL ini at least 4 sentences ya, Mas ya, berarti ya.
Exactly. Betul sekali, Mas. Jadi AREL method ini sebenarnya hanya untuk mengingatkan bahwa kalau kita cuma punya satu reason, do not worry, karena bisa kita tambahin example, tinggal kita tambahin example, masih cuma 3 sentence, ya udah, tinggal dikasih link back. Link back ya sama aja kayak assertion, cuma di paraphrase. Tapi Mas, kalau reasonnya Mas Sandi panjang, contohnya, there are several reasons why smoking should be abolished in Indonesia. To begin with, it's really dangerous for our body. Second of all, it's violating non-active smokers who have the fully rights to breathe, freely in the public places. And third of all, kalau banyak reasons-nya atau layers of arguments-nya, example nggak perlu, Mas. Jadi yang wajib itu hanya assertion sama reason sebenarnya. Example sama example sama link back itu cuma sunnah sebenarnya, Mas. Kalau reasonnya berlayer-layer kayak Mas Sandi tadi. Tapi kalau reasonnya cuma satu, gimana ngakalinnya biar bisa panjang? Karena salah satu rubrik di fluency adalah speak at length, ngomong panjang. Di part 3 ekspektasinya 1 paragraf, Mas. Karena itu diskusi. Nanti pertanyaannya bakal lebih ke diskusi, critical and analytical questions. Any more questions about AREL method?
Yeah.
Cukup ya, Mas?
Yeah.
Kita coba lagi. Untuk pertanyaan selanjutnya, silakan dicoba AREL method. Mas Sandi, can you see my slide?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the future of newspapers. Why do some people choose to read the news on the internet rather than in the newspaper?
Okay. In my perspective, some people prefer to read the news on the internet because the flexibility and the flexibility and the flexibility because it blank, sorry mas.
It's okay. Take your time. No pressure.
Yeah, in my perspective, some people prefer to read the news on the internet because they don't need to subscribe, to pay a subscription when they read the news on the internet. Reason itu aku langsung masuk ke reason ya mas ya.
Makanya tadi sudah bagus mas. Sebenarnya udah ada idea flexibility. Makanya biar tidak panjang mas, biar tidak pendek, sorry, itu basa-basi dulu mas awalannya. Pertanyaan kayak gini, pertanyaan yang seperti ini menanyakan alasan atau faktor atau justifikasi. Kita bisa awali dengan that's a really interesting question. In my perspective, there are several reasons why people prefer reading on the internet rather than in the physical newspapers. To begin with, the main reason is that blah blah blah. Kita bilang aja ada banyak alasan kok sebenarnya, tapi yang kita mau sebutin cuma 1 atau 2 doang. Gitu mas. Jadi buka satu kalimat dengan basa-basi. In my perspectives, there are several reasons why people prefer reading on the internet rather than in the physical newspapers. The main reason is that because of the flexibility. What do I mean by this? For example, apa tadi subscription, kalau di physical newspaper itu harus bayar, kalau di internet you can click one title and done. That's why I think that is the reason why people choose to read digitally rather than physically nowadays. Okay? Walaupun idenya cuma 1, flexibility tentang subscription, tapi bisa panjang kalau ditambahin assertion sama link back. Kita coba lagi, Mas. Mas Sandi, how is internet news different from the news you read in the newspaper?
For this question, I think why the internet news is sometimes different with the news in physical newspaper is because the internet news it's very updated with the news that happened recently we can say by the second or the minutes the internet news can provide the news for their reader. And if we see the physical newspaper, they create the content of the newspaper is, I can say, this news will distribute it to the reader on the next day. So that's the difference, I think. That makes some people love to read news from the internet.
Nice. Jadi alasan yang pertama up to date, sama yang kedua apa mas?
Yang pertama tadi up to date, yang kedua up to date aja sih mas tadi mas. Lebih update.
Oke, nice. Atau boleh juga in my opinion, there are several differences between news on the internet or Google and in the physical newspapers. The main difference that I can see is that the level of the news. Most digital news are really up to date compared to physical newspapers. Maybe because they are easy to revise or edited by the journalist or the writer or the author. Compared to the physical newspapers, it's already printed and done. There's nothing they can do anymore. On top of that, I think the difference is about the convenience. I think internet news are so easy to be accessed by many people. As simple as you just need a device, any devices, and just click any title that you want to read on Google, and then you can read any news you want whenever and wherever you are. But the physical one, you need to order first, you need to subscribe first, you need to bring the paper all the time. I think those are the main two differences that I can see. Okay. Last question, Mas. In part 3, will internet news ever replace newspapers in the future? Why or why not?
Okay. In my opinion, the internet news can replace newspaper, can replace the physical newspapers. There are several reasons why I said this. Firstly is nowadays almost every people use a device, for example, mobile phone or computer tablet. And with the internet connection, they easily can access to many websites that contain news from local news or international news. And secondly, with internet news, okay, sorry. Based on that reason, that's why I believe that physical newspaper, people will choose internet news rather than physical newspaper nowadays.
Well done. Okay. That's really great,
Yes.
Mas Sandi. Now you are being structurized, I guess. You just require extra time and extra work, extra repetitions, which we're going to have in the next meetings, karena minggu pertemuan besok kita sudah masuk ke listening ya Mas.
Okay.
Boleh saya simpan 30 menit ini untuk di minggu, jadi di minggu kita 2 jam setengah ya Mas, tambah 30 menit kemarin juga, 1 jam tambah 1 jam setengah, 2 jam setengah. Apakah Mas Sandi available dari jam 2.30 sore sampai jam 5? Is that okay?
I think it's okay, Mas.
Thank you. Yep, I think that's it for today. 2,5 jam untuk minggu, insya Allah itu bakal cukup kelar untuk bahas listening.
Listening, siap.
I'm gonna share with you the videos, more videos of from the YouTube for speaking. So please, if you have leisure time, please watch them, ya, Mas, one by one.
Okay, Mas.
Send you 7 to 8 links. Please watch all of them, and you please do your homework. Idioms and voice notes, yes?
Okay.
I'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you, Mas. Waalaikumsalam.